Title: The Ultimate Race. Part 1. The sun was setting over the city, casting a golden hue on the streets as Jake Turbo Thompson wiped the grease off his hands. His garage, Turbo's Tuning, was a haven for car enthusiasts and street racers alike. Tonight, however, the usual hum of engines was replaced by an electric tension in the air. Jake's crew was gathered around, discussing the latest race. Mia Nitro Rivera, the tech genius, was busy tweaking the engine of Jake's prized car, a sleek black Mustang. Max the Brainchen, the engineer, was running diagnostics on their latest modifications. "Hey, Turbo, you ready for tonight?" Mia asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Always," Jake replied with a confident grin. "But something feels off about this one." Just then, a sleek, unfamiliar car pulled up to the garage. The driver, a mysterious figure in a black helmet, stepped out and approached Jake. "Turbo, right?" the stranger said, their voice distorted by the helmet. "I've heard you're the best. Care to prove it?" Jake's eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" "Call me Shadow," the stranger replied. "Let's just say I have a proposition for you. Win tonight's race, and you'll get more than just bragging rights." Intrigued but cautious, Jake agreed. As Shadow drove off, Mia looked at Jake with concern. "You sure about this, Jake?" "Not really," Jake admitted. "But we need to find out what this Shadow is up to." The race was set to take place at the Old Industrial District, a favorite spot for underground racing. As Jake and his crew arrived, they saw Leo the Lion Martinez and his gang already there, their cars lined up and ready. Well, if it isn't Turbo," Leo sneered. "Ready to lose?" "Not tonight, Leo," Jake shot back. "Let's do this." The racers lined up, engines roaring. As the signal was given, they shot off, tires screeching against the asphalt. The race was intense, with Jake and Leo neck and neck. But Jake's skill and the modifications by Mia and Max gave him the edge he needed. As Jake crossed the finish line, the crowd erupted in cheers. But Shadow was nowhere to be seen. Instead, a small device was left on Jake's car, blinking ominously. "What the hell is this?" Jake muttered, picking up the device. "Looks like a tracker," Mia said, examining it. "Someone's been watching us." Jake's eyes hardened. "We need to find out who and why." As the crew headed back to the garage, they knew this was just the beginning. The stakes were higher than ever, and they were about to be drawn into a world of danger and intrigue far beyond street racing. The next morning, the garage was buzzing with activity. Jake and his crew were still trying to figure out the mysterious tracker left on his car. Mia had it hooked up to her laptop, running a series of diagnostics. "This thing is sophisticated," Mia said, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Whoever planted it knows their tech." "Any leads?" Jake asked, leaning over her shoulder. "Not yet, but I'll crack it," Mia replied confidently. Just then, the garage door creaked open, and Leo the Lion Martinez strolled in with a smug grin on his face. His crew followed closely behind, their presence filling the room with tension. "Turbo, nice win last night," Leo said, his tone dripping with sarcasm. "But don't get too comfortable. That was just a warm-up." "What do you want, Leo?" Jake asked, crossing his arms. "I want a rematch," Leo declared. "But this time, it's not just about the race. There's a lot more at stake." Jake's eyes narrowed. "What are you talking about?" Leo pulled out a small, sleek device from his pocket and tossed it to Jake. "Recognize this?" Jake caught the device and examined it. It was identical to the tracker they found on his car. "Where did you get this?" "Let's just say I have my sources," Leo replied cryptically. And they're very interested in you and your crew. Before Jake could respond, Leo's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and smirked. Looks like I have to go. But remember, Turbo, this isn't over. As Leo and his crew left, Jake turned to Mia and Max. We need to find out who's behind this and why they're targeting us. Mia nodded. I'll keep working on the tracker. Maybe it'll lead us to some answers. Max chimed in, and I'll start reinforcing our cars. If Leo's involved, we need to be ready for anything. Later that night, Jake received a call from an unknown number. He answered cautiously. Hello? Jake Thompson, a woman's voice asked. Who's asking? Jake replied. My name is Agent Sarah Johnson, the voice said. I'm with the FBI, and I need your help. Jake's heart raced. FBI? What do you want with me? There's a lot you don't know, Jake, Agent Johnson said. Meet me at the old warehouse on 5th Street in an hour. I'll explain everything. Jake hung up and turned to his crew. Looks like we have a new player in this game. An FBI agent wants to meet. FBI? Mia exclaimed. This is getting serious. Let's go, Jake said. We need to find out what she knows. At the warehouse, Jake and his crew met Agent Johnson, a sharp, determined woman with a no-nonsense attitude. She wasted no time getting to the point. Jake, your races have caught the attention of a powerful crime syndicate, she explained. They're using street racing as a cover for their illegal activities, and Leo's gang is deeply involved. Why us? Jake asked. Because you're the best, Agent Johnson replied. And they see you as a threat. We need your help to bring them down. Jake exchanged glances with his crew. What do you need us to do? Keep racing, Agent Johnson said. But keep your eyes and ears open. We need intel on their operations. And be careful. They're dangerous. As they left the warehouse, Jake felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. The stakes were higher than ever, and they were now caught in a web of danger and intrigue. Looks like we're in for one hell of a ride, Jake said, revving his engine. Bring it on, Mia replied with a determined smile. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. Mia worked tirelessly to crack the tracker, while Max reinforced their cars with new modifications. Jake, meanwhile, couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. One evening, as the crew gathered in the garage, Mia finally had a breakthrough. I've got it, she exclaimed, her eyes lighting up. The tracker is linked to a network of devices. I traced the signal to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city. That's got to be where they're operating from, Jake said. We need to check it out. Agreed, Max said. But we need to be careful. If Leo's gang is involved, it could be a trap. Jake nodded. We'll go in quietly. Mia, you stay here and monitor the situation. Max and I will handle the recon. As night fell, Jake and Max drove to the warehouse, their cars moving silently through the deserted streets. They parked a few blocks away and approached the building on foot. The warehouse was dark and foreboding, with only a few dim lights flickering inside. Stay sharp, Jake whispered as they slipped through a side entrance. Inside, the warehouse was a maze of crates and machinery. Jake and Max moved cautiously, their senses on high alert. They could hear voices in the distance, and the sound of metal clanging echoed through the space. They crept closer, peering around a corner to see a group of men loading crates into a truck. Among them was Leo, barking orders. That's definitely Leo's gang, Max whispered. But what are they moving? Jake's eyes narrowed as he spotted a familiar logo on one of the crates. That's Advanced Car Tech. They're stealing it. Before they could retreat, a guard spotted them. Hey! Who's there? Jake and Max bolted, racing back the way they came. Alarms blared, and the warehouse erupted into chaos. They dodged through the maze of crates, narrowly avoiding capture. As they reached the exit, a figure stepped into their path. It was Shadow, the mysterious racer from the other night. Leaving so soon? Shadow taunted, blocking their way. Jake didn't hesitate. He charged forward, tackling Shadow to the ground. Max followed, helping to subdue the masked figure. They pulled off the helmet, revealing a young woman with fierce eyes. Who are you? Jake demanded. Name's Alex, she spat. And you're in way over your head. Why are you working with Leo? Max asked. I'm not, Alex replied. I'm trying to stop him. But now you've blown my cover. Jake and Max exchanged glances. We need to get out of here, Jake said. Come with us. We can help each other. Reluctantly, Alex agreed. They made their way back to the cars, with Leo's gang hot on their heels. As they sped away, Jake called Mia to update her. We found out what they're up to, Jake said. They're stealing advanced car tech. And we found an ally. Good work, Mia replied. Get back here safely. We need to figure out our next move. Back at the garage, Alex explained her situation. She was a former engineer who had infiltrated Leo's gang to stop their illegal activities. But now, with her cover blown, she needed Jake's help. We're in this together, Jake said. We'll take them down. But we need to be smart about it. As the crew planned their next steps, they knew the stakes were higher than ever. The race against Leo's gang had turned into a battle for survival, and they were determined to come out on top. The next morning, the crew gathered in the garage, their minds racing with the events of the previous night. Alex, the former engineer, had joined their ranks, bringing valuable intel about Leo's gang and their operations. We need to figure out our next move, Jake said, pacing back and forth. Leo's gang is stealing advanced car tech, and we need to stop them. Agreed, Mia said, her fingers flying over her laptop keyboard. But we need more information. We need someone on the inside. I might have a solution, Alex said, stepping forward. I know someone who can help. An undercover cop who's been working to bring down Leo's gang from the inside. An undercover cop? Jake asked, intrigued. Who? Agent Sarah Johnson, Alex replied. She's been deep undercover for months. If anyone can help us, it's her. Jake nodded. Let's set up a meeting. We need all the help we can get. That evening, Jake and Alex met Agent Johnson at a secluded diner on the outskirts of the city. The agent was a sharp, determined woman with a no-nonsense attitude. She wasted no time getting to the point. Jake, Alex, thank you for meeting me, Agent Johnson said, her eyes scanning the room for any signs of trouble. I've been tracking Leo's gang for months. They're part of a larger crime syndicate that's using street racing as a cover for their illegal activities. We know they're stealing advanced car tech, Jake said. But why? The syndicate is developing a new type of high-performance car, Agent Johnson explained. They're using stolen technology to create vehicles that are faster and more powerful than anything on the market. If they succeed, they'll dominate the racing world and use their influence to expand their criminal empire.